Alright folks, the Mitsu 108, Tier 5 normal Japanese heavy tank that starts off the line of gun cooling Japanese heavy tanks. But it's not 108 tons, it's not 108mm gun, it's more like a 40-ish ton of a large medium tank design, similar to a T-28 medium tank, except it has a large caliber 105mm that packs a punch for a Tier 5. So, pretty scary gun. Kinda reminds me of the Supertest for the Mitsu 100 or the OI experimental. So back then, it had a 100mm that dealt 300 alpha before all the HP buff of low tiers, which was pretty crazy. So obviously they nerfed it and give it a 75mm. So yeah, no more fun with high explosives, no more fun with low tier vehicles. You all have like a lot of health and everybody just slings bullets at each other at low tier. So this vehicle is more like a fast version of an OI experimental without as much armor. But what the hell is this thing? Smoke canisters? That's a car jack. That's a rod for jacking the vehicle, but it's a 40-ish ton vehicle that you're going to jack with your hands. That's not gonna work. Alright, fine, whatever, but not the prettiest of vehicle out there. So similar to intermediate war designs of a multi-turreted T-28 medium tank design. It's not the prettiest, but ugh. Lots of radio operators or mini machine gun turret personnels, I guess. They call it radio operator, but they're mostly for the mini turrets operating the machine guns out of every warfice. So likely crew of 5 or plus, maybe a 6-man crew. So lots of crew members, but it's a 105mm for low tiers. And nowadays, it's still pretty scary, but this thing is surprisingly fast to rev. It's about 15 horsepower per ton ratio, which is kinda crazy. So let's take a look at the stats. 105mm, 130mm of pen for AP, and gold AP is also not half bad, but shell velocity is okay. 300 alpha, that is decent. I mean, DPM is not great. It takes about 14 seconds to reload, but it punches pretty hard. 2 shells will kill a tier 5 practically, mostly. Tier 5 medium tank, but takes about 3 shells for the heavy tanks. Aim time is kinda long, accuracy is crap. It's a large caliber gun after all. 10 degrees gun depression, 20 elevation, 50 rounds. 2 radio operator, not 2 loaders. So they fill up the mini turrets for the machine guns, even though we don't use it, so kinda useless, but whatever. It is surprising to rev. Like I said, 15.2 horsepower per ton ratio with about 35 km/h top speed and 12 for reverse. So it's more like a fat medium tank, except has a big gun with big alpha. Interesting. Has a lot of health too. 900 HP. That is close to a tier 6 heavy tank. Like a KV2 or T-150. That's a lot of health. 70 at the hull front, 40 at the hull sides, 90 at the turret front, 70 at the turret sides. So fat medium tank. 350 meters of view range. Fat medium tank. Radio is okay at tier 5, but it feels like surprisingly amount of alpha and speed for such a large size with that much health behind it. So yeah, this thing might be scary, might be, but stock turret looks like a freaking can of soup, chicken soup. It's rounded, it is flat, it is only about 90-ish. So hull armor is only 70, but it is slope. Shoot the mini turrets to pin. It's a large medium tank, practically. Ugh. Radio operator. Kind of useless. I mean, having 2 loaders is better than having 2 radio operators, right? You have intuition and safe stowage, but radio operator only gets situational awareness, and that is practically it. So tier 5, no category, no field modifications, nothing to worry about. It's low tier, yada yada. OI experimental in comparison, of course. Stock gun is likely a 75mm, so they don't tell you the DPM. 80 rounds is okay for the size of the vehicle, but I feel like, yeah, potential damage of the stock gun is not that great. It's only 80 rounds. You should have like 100. I mean, Panzer IVs have about 100 rounds of the 75. So potential damage of the stock gun is not as crazy, but accuracy is slightly better with the stock 75 as expected, but it's still kind of garbage. 0.42 is not the greatest. And DPM is also very close to the derp gun. Or it's not even a derp, it's just large caliber 105, but yeah, DPM sucks. But then again, it's a heavy tank, quote unquote. I'm surprised how good the high explosive might be. Well, tier 3s won't see tier 5s anymore, so that's a shame. You cannot use 400 alpha high explosive on a tier 3. That would be crazy. Alright, so it seems like the upgrade path is almost the same with all the vehicles of this new Japanese heavy tank line. So you get a new turret, you get a new gun after the turret, but likely the vehicle comes after the gun. So you have to research everything, so there's no skipping in some parts. But unlike the tier 8, the tier 8 gets a better gun secondary instead of using the main cooling gun. So without the cooling, you get a better gun at the tier 8 level. We already covered it, but stock 75 compared to the 105. Obviously less rate of, or more rate of fire compared to the less rate of fire. Reload time is obviously faster, but trade-off is obviously the damage, the alpha. 0.4 accuracy for a 100% crew with the 75 is not the greatest. I mean, aim time is okay, but yeah, stock gun is okay. You're not working with like sub 50, like a 50mm gun. That would be terrible. But then again, some of the 50mm at tier 5s are rapid firing. Toss up. Yeah, DPM is okay. You fit a rammer on this thing, it's fine. Weighs about 46 tons with the full modules unlocked. 15.22 horsepower per ton ratio, which is surprisingly fast to rev for such a large vehicle. And 46 tons is surprisingly heavy for a tier 5. So technically, this thing could go ramming, but only 70 at the hull front. It could go ramming into like light tanks or medium tanks. Camo's garbage, as expected. Hull traverse is also surprisingly fast, about 31.3 degrees per second. View range, average. Radio, okay, workable. It's actually surprisingly nimble for such a large ass vehicle. I mean, kind of reminds me of the T-14 American medium tank. So let's see, tier 5s, heavies. How much is horsepower on this thing? Yeah, I have a turbocharger, but yeah, surprisingly, it's just as nimble as this thing. Interesting. It almost weighs about the same too. Huh, this thing is like a super Sherman, practically. It uses the same parts of a Sherman tank into this vehicle, but well, about the same weight as a KV tank, except a lot faster to rev. Yeah, it's a lot faster to rev. Even faster to rev than the KV-1SA. Excelsior? Close to this thing revving up speed. Okay. But it's all about the gun. It's a 105mm gun, which normally it's not available to tier 5s. Tier 5s get like a 75, 76, at best at 85 for something like a KV tank, and that's all you get. So DPM might be kinda low, but you have a lot of health. Like 900 health. Most of them are about 800. I thought it was interesting. I thought the tier 6 have a lot of health. Well, then again, they changed the health of a lot of the stuff. Wow, these things have 1000 now? I haven't played tier 6 in a long ass time. Interesting. Holy crap, these are like freaking tier 7 health now. So originally, all these vehicles at low tier have about 900 health, but they all buffed it to 900 baseline for tier 5 heavy tanks, which is pretty nuts. So it will take you a while to shoot with that low DPM. into like other heavy takes. I mean, it is a high punching, powerful gun, but you don't have as much armor. So equipment wise, I would say rammer is obviously the main choice. DPM sucks. You might want vents and possibly enhanced gun lane drive for the aim time. But then again, there's no vertical stabilizer at low tier, so you're not shooting on the move. And I presume dispersion while moving is also kind of crap, so nothing to talk about there. You could put a turbocharger on this thing, surprisingly. Like rammer, turbocharger, and vents. So similar to what I have on the T-14. I have optics. Interesting. You can also put optics, but yeah, since vehicles that are mostly somewhat fast and it already has garbage accuracy, so I was like, we don't care about accuracy. Aim time's already good enough, so might as well put turbocharger on this thing. Optics is also for fun. Oh yeah, view ranges kind of suck too, so you could put it like with the T-14, my T-14 setup, like rammer, optics, turbocharger. Also put vents. There's no bonus slots. It's only starting at tier 6 with the bonus slot, so put whatever the hell you want, but normally I would suggest vents instead of turbocharger for slower vehicles, or enhanced gun lane drive for longer to aim gun. But interesting, I put an enhanced gun lane drive on a KV tank, but the capture KV tank I put a optics. So mix and match and see which one is good for you. You could put enhanced sights or improve aiming for the accuracy, but I think it's already crappy enough with the large caliber gun, so yeah, it's not gonna help that much. Might as well put it into a turbocharger. So Mitsu 108. If this thing weighs 108 tons with that much horsepower per ton ratio, it will be crazy, but it's not. Of course it's not. So stock grind doesn't look that bad. It's not the craziest, but it does kind of feel like a T-14, except you're trading turret armor for a large caliber gun, practically. Feels fine. I mean, don't stand face to face with this thing. You'll be stupid to trade shots. You're not trading the alpha with this thing. No, it also has health, so don't stand in front of it. Just take pot shots into the side armor, into the side of the turret. The frontal armor is also weak, as well as the mini turrets for the radio operators. So it's like a 5. I mean, it's okay. It doesn't feel that crazy. It's not like with the OIs, the experimental OI experimentals, originally with the 100mm. So for these vehicles, they have armor. They can stand in your way with the derp gun. So 150 for the tier 6 and about 100 for the tier 5. But yeah, they nerfed the tier 5 into the ground, so I sold mine. But this thing also uses a 105, right? Or at least 100mm. It uses a 100mm or a 150 derp gun, but surprising high alpha for a tier 6. Or then again, tier 5. Tier 6 is more like 85mm, then sometimes get 100mm or at least 107s, but yeah, I don't feel it's as fun as playing with a dumb super heavy that fires high explosives. But yeah, high explosives have been nerfed to the ground. This thing feels like it's workable. It's not bad, but you have your large caliber gun with garbage accuracy to work with and long aim time, but if you somehow manage it to work, you could play like a fat medium tank. So like a 5. It's not bad, but you have the health, you don't have the armor. Yeah, armor is debatable. So large fat medium tank, like a TOG that actually could rev with the health, except large caliber gun without the DPM. Yeah, it fits a playstyle that we haven't seen before for most tier 5 heavy tanks, but yeah, it feels like a 5. It's workable, but I still rather prefer vehicles like this thing. I mean, this thing has armor. Also have 900 health too. The only downside is turret armor sucks, and the accuracy is also garbage. Also with the aim time, or with the penetration along with the accuracy. So aim time's good enough. It's a big chunky boy. It's like a KV3 haul. Except the turret sucks. Well, 5 out of 10. Well, there you go, folks. The Mitsu 108. So, happy Thanksgiving. We're getting close to the holiday season. So, we'll likely see who the celebrity is for this year's holiday ops. Please give us something to laugh about, please. I'm wishing for it. But as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll do a wrap up of this year coming soon. It is the Christmas season or holiday season. But as always, thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace. You